Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Claire Holliday. I am a fantasy author aspiring traditional publishing, and I love fantasy books, YA and adult, and I gave in. A very popular book popped up that I have heard very mixed things about, kind of put it off. I was like, no, I'm into serious fantasy right now. I'm listening to Joe Abercrombie's A Little Hatred. I don't need this. Well, I decided I do need it. And that is Rebecca Yarrow's Fourth Wing, the sensation, the phenomena. But if you're even remotely into reading, then you probably remember when this took off like last year. I'll put in like how many copies were sold in its first year, like up here, but I'm sure it was a lot. People that weren't that into books or in like the book world talking about it, which is how you know like something really broke through to the mainstream. Now, like I said, I've heard mixed things. My understanding of Fourth Wing is that it is new adult or adult. Like, it is not YA, but it has a bit of that YA feel because it is a young female protagonist. It's like dragon school, dragon college. I don't think I talked about it with you guys, but I did get like a third of the way through The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. One of the plot lines in here, very much like girl going to dragon school, blah, 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 very much reminds me of the main plot of this Fourth Wing. I'm not sure it's categorized as a romantasy, but I know there's a lot of crossover with romantasy readers. I think some people have a lot of criticism because they're like, this is a frothy fantasy with a silly plot and not a ton of world building and blah, blah, blah. But in my mind, I'm like, what a perfect summer read. But we are gonna start on Fourth Wing and we're gonna do it right now. The map looks actually pretty cool and well illustrated, but because it's a library book, literally half of it is taped off. Oh, very nice. They have an even more intense, like well illustrated map of the Bascahor College. Ah, it's in first person. My favorite. So what I've noticed so far is that there is a very modern voice. Main character first person, and a lot of her internal dialogue. There's cursing, there's kind of modern zippy quips, little funny one-offs, kind of sardonic humor. It's done a very efficient job of getting you into the world, understanding the stakes, and kind of just starting off with a bang, which is a very YA type of methodology when it comes to storytelling. You kind of know the seriousness of the stakes immediately because you are dropped in seconds before everything starts happening, all the action starts happening, and also all the things that are against the character, a lot of her family relationships. You just get a lot of information very quickly, but it's told in a very straightforward, modern way. The thing that's definitely makes me, I would say, roll my eyes perhaps a little bit, the main character Violet and all of these 20-year-olds. They need to join this school and join this regime, and they're doing this really dangerous first stunt, and they could kill each other, and 40 to 50 of them will die before they're accepted at the school. And it's like, well, that's just silly. Like, you guys are at war. You have all these like healthy young recruits coming in, and you're gonna have them A, like distrust each other and try to kill each other, and then B, just kill off a bunch of perfectly healthy students that you could use, if not to become dragon riders, then for other things. I can feel how stressed and how tense and how serious it is for the main character. That's where I'm at. I will check in with you guys later. Stop. I'm back again with another Fourth Wing update. Shortly after my last check-in, I broke my phone, and it has been a whole thing to get it replaced and restored, yada, yada, yada. Hence why I'm filming off the camera right now. But since I don't have a phone to distract me, it's crazy how much more reading I've been doing. So I am solidly like 5 or 6 chapters in. It is undeniable what an incredibly fun an easy read this is. I went into it hoping that it would be the fantasy equivalent of like a breezy summer book, and it totally is. And it has done a good job of sucking me in, even though I think the entire setup, like what the plot is right now, is totally ridiculous. And the stakes that they're setting and how they're getting there is kind of bonkers. Ultimately, you're a military school, you need personnel. Maybe not everyone can be a dragon rider, but do you really want to set things up in a way where people that might still be incredibly physically and mentally stellar or extraordinary candidates are just killed off, not even by dragons, not by like military forces, but by the school itself? You just want to set it up in a way that kills a bunch of potential recruits? Like, there are other things other than dragon riding generally in a society or even in the military that people can do and that they might need extraordinary minds for. So just the fact that the school is just like, yeah, 60 students, 70 students have died getting across the first challenge. It's like, well, that's just dumb. That, especially because the first challenge is just walking across a very narrow walkway, and it just happened to have a storm come through, so it was extra difficult because of factors outside of like what the school is setting up. And it's like, oh, well, we need these challenges because the dragon isn't gonna take to a rider who can't cross an incredibly narrow, slick path during a storm. It seems like something that just a heavy wind could easily knock someone up. That just doesn't seem like it has anything to do with dragon riding. It seems more like completely by luck and chance than anything to do with really physicality or mental toughness or anything like that. Because presumably you have all these dragons and these riders and a military school because you're at war with other nations, and you're at war with other nations because these other nations are probably trying to take over your country or hurt or kill civilians. So it's like, why would you kill your own civilians in order to train them to get to a point to protect civilians? It just doesn't make, it literally doesn't make any sense. It's an insane, illogical premise. And her mother, Violet's mother, being like, you're a Sorengale, so you have to be a dragon rider. It's like, what? Why? Especially because she has like a physical disability that she's had since she was a small child. Oh, what good is that going to do anybody to send her to this like death college that you know that she would struggle, if not is guaranteed to not make it through? But for what purpose? It would be far more militarily strategic to send this girl who's been training for the last 20 years to be a scribe, to do the thing that she's been training to do, and therefore be useful at, and therefore be like a stronger asset to the military and to like the country or whatever as a whole. The way this is set up is batshit crazy. I like kind of can't believe that it's a premise because it's so, like I said before, illogical. And yet, I am still pulled in. The second I stop reading, the stakes don't make any sense. But when I'm in it, I feel how desperate Violet is, both to try to like make it through, to belong, the pressure that she's under. The logistics of the world I don't love, but the aesthetics of the world seem incredibly cool. I kind of like the way this college is set up. I imagine a lot of like beautiful stone carved into a mountain, and then these like stone enormous dragon carvings. Like, all of that is very cool. The romantasy undertones are kind of fun, even though tonally they feel like they're entirely out of left field. Like, she'll just start gushing over any of the dudes, including the Xavier guy, who she's like, he wants to kill me. He's gonna do everything in his power to kill me because he hates my mom, he hates my family, his parents are dead because of mine. He's gonna ruin my life, but his rippling muscles, it's kind of a delight. I have just started on chapter 5. Oh, also, I love at the beginning of the chapters these little little quote. I'm always a sucker for stuff like that in fantasy as a way to just round out the world building. I think it's kind of cool and I find them to be kind of interesting. Speaking of world building, oh my gosh, I have to mention when Violet was doing the first challenge and she's trying not to fall off this ledge and fall to her doom and there's rain and all that, and she's like, the only way the only way to keep my mind on track is if I recite the history of this world. So there's just this blatant world building thrown in where she's reciting the countries or regions are set up and also their relationships to one another. It's just was a very funny way to come across world building. Like, she's just reciting it perfectly. She's reciting it as if she's reading it out of a textbook. You know, there's no stutterings, there's no there's no like, and I don't remember, I'll come back to that later or anything. She's just, these are the resources that this region likes, and these are the resources that this region likes, and this is why they're at conflict with one another, and blah, blah. It's just that was a very, very funny maneuver. I'm gonna keep reading, and I will check back with you guys if I ever get my phone working. You can, like to put the you can. Hello everybody. So I am 100 pages and believe I hit the point in the series that this is all like the crux of the issue, and that is that Xavier, who was the child of the rebel families who, like, the parents have been executed, and now he's going to this college and he's very powerful and he's recruiting other students in this college who are children of rebel fighters who hate Violet because her mom, like, personally sent their families to death. Very interesting conflict set up there. But then Xavier kind of saying, like, no one touch Violet, she's mine to deal with. And obviously not only being, like, kind of flirty in that romantasy, like, smirky, kind of annoying way, but actively giving her advice about, like, how to fight better or how to deal with murderous bullies better. So she clearly has a crush on Xavier, but she also has a crush on, what's his name, Dean or something, her childhood friend, who's also very handsome and very successful as a writer, as a dragon, has some powers. But while they trust each other, he's overly protective of her. It's the good guy from back home versus, like, the bad boy, but the bad boy is actually trying to push the main character into becoming a better version of herself, where the guy back home wanting to shelter her rather than push her to be better. So you can already see that conflict coming up. Oh, I just finished the scene. Xavier and Violet were fighting in the ring and it was so funny. And I have to say, wildly entertaining, very, very fun. Is the setup for how they get to that point silly? Yes. Every time they mention students dying and the death toll throughout the weeks, I'm like, it takes me out every time, because I'm like, that is so stupid. Like, yeah, the people in your, what do they call it, your squad can't kill each other, but people from other squads could kill you. And it's exactly as if somebody was like, oh, the Marines can't kill other Marines, but someone from Air Force could kill you. It's like, what? That's insane. You guys are trying to protect the same land and the same units. Why would it be okay to kill each other? And then once you pass college, then you're all on the same side? It just doesn't make any sense. It's a very, very, very ridiculous premise. It takes me out every time, but the banter between Violet and Xavier is fun, and I am having such a blast reading it. So I will check back in with you guys when I have a little bit more progress made. So this is my final update for part 1. So I just finished this section where she actually got her dragging, the threshing, I think it's called, and it was, I am enjoying the act of reading it. I am very engaged while doing so. But let me tell you some silly things that happen. So one, they have this training leading up to the threshing, because it's like, this is your opportunity to get a dragon, which, first of all, I find it kind of crazy that basically students at this death college are able to get a dragon basically semester 1 of freshman year. With the way they describe a dragon and all that, it seems like something they need a lot more time to prepare for, both like mentally and physically. It seems like something that shouldn't happen until you're a senior at this college, because it's ultimately a military school, and the military could trust these young adults to have this war machine. This is kind of crazy because there's second years and third years that have dragons, and they're kind of treated like they can just do whatever they want. And I'm like, well, they're still students. The real justification is that the author wants Violet to get a dragon as soon as possible. Then there's this whole like 6 weeks of training and to simulate what it will be like when they come across these dragons, super deadly, and they like lose some students to this training. And again, I'm like, well, that's ridiculous. Setting up situations where these students could die while learning to do this incredibly important military act is just so crazy. It's bonkers. You just don't go to this college and know how to ride a dragon. You're going to this college because you're hoping to learn how to ride a dragon. So part of that would be teaching, and maybe you get hurt, and maybe it's very physically difficult, and maybe some people just can't handle it. Like I think that makes sense. And then we get to the threshing. We have these students that are like gonna go and kill the golden dragon. They're like, oh, it's too small, and if anyone bonds with it, it's gonna get people killed. Also an insane justification that comes out of nowhere. That took me completely by surprise. I thought when Violet overheard Jack and his gang of goons coming through the valley, she would be like, oh, they're hunting me, they're looking for me. And then she was like, no, they're gonna go kill the golden dragon. The people in this military school would be pissed. Like, why would you do that? That's so silly. That's insane. And the other dragons won't like you either, because they'll be like, you're willing to kill us. That's just so freaking crazy. And it's never really justified. They're like, well, because it's small and weak. I felt like there needed to be more justification than that. It's worth a lot of money on the black market, or there's this rumor that if you kill it, where its scales, you could harness some of its power, or something like that. And then Xavier coming down. I keep saying that. Is that even his name? No. Xaden. Xaden coming down, them being like, it's against the rules for third years to intervene. I'm like, who's gonna know? Who's gonna care? What an insane rule. He can clearly see that you're about to harm a dragon. I think that's like worth intervening. Violet, the narrator, is constantly making quippy one-liners, zingers in her head and out loud. Her voice is very comical, but what's going on around her is supposed to be very dark. And then she'll go on tangents about how like sexy all these men are, and tonally it kind of feels a little all over the place. Got to the point where she is bonding not just with the biggest, baddest dragon that hasn't bonded with anybody in decades or whatever, but also the little golden dragon. So she's bonding with two dragons at the same time. Whatever. That is the least offensive thing out of this whole setup. And at least the dragons were adding another element into the story, because I tell you what, the whole college situation, more time we spend there, the more irritated and less into it I am. So if we can spend time with the dragons and also with Xaden, when what's going on with him and the rebel kids, that I find more interesting. So that is where I'm at with part 1 of my reading vlog of Fourth Wing. So if you have read Fourth Wing, please, for the love of God, don't spoil it for me. I am still reading it, but you can let me know your general thoughts down below. Maybe how many stars out of 5 you would give it. I will continue reading and vlogging for you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next reading vlog. Bye.